we will be going down here to the election in March. So let's go back. It's going to put some things right here. So the first thing we did that we were working on the last time I got together with you, and I realized that I only need to do one thing at a time because it was too much, so I apologize. But the first time we had to self-nominate, and that was that crazy phase where you had to put in each local had to put in that you've got a president, a vice president, secretary, and treasurer. If you put anybody else, what they did was they just eliminated them. There's no co-presidents, there's no assistant anything. They only have 4 officers. So the first time, let me go up here to January 7th. We've got all the state officers have been nominated. The candidates, delegates to convention have all been nominated, and the region positions, they have all been self-nominated too. So the position was there; they had to put their names in by January 7th. Now we're down to the local ones, and like I said, we entered everything in. 95 locals, I'll let you know, are included in this election as far as I know. That's what she told me because I was concerned. Remember when I met before with y'all, I remember on Friday, that Friday before it was due, only 10 locals had put the information in. By Saturday, it was 60. And by Monday or Tuesday, when they required it, she said she was at 95. But I think it was only because we met, we talked, the region directors were helping everybody to get it done. And that really made a big difference. So like I said, if you put in any assistant, anything, they were eliminated. So now we're down to the candidates for local office. So your job between now and the end of the month, and I think you probably already started it, is to find who's going to run for office. And then they have to self-nominate, and they have to use that specific form that we're going to refer back, and we'll go to that in just a minute. And so these people will have had to pay their dues by December 15th, or otherwise they're delinquent with their dues. They're not an active member, and they wouldn't be able to run for office. So that's really important. You're going to have to put in your full name. Now, remember when you're putting names in, if you've got, like, I know somebody, my friend, her name is Margaret, but she goes by Betsy. But when she applies, if she's going to run for office, you're going to have to use Margaret. There was somebody that Carol was working on over in 6B, and she had a different name that she went by, but she had to file by her original, formal name. So then you have to put your name, your first name, your last name. You put your local. You put the position that you want to file for. You have to have an email address because then they can, they can communicate with you if something's missing. And then you have to sign. There's that signature box. Now, somebody was actually kicked out in an election back in August because they didn't sign. And so there were 2 people running for an office. One person did sign or did their initials in that little box. The other one left it blank. They were disqualified. So be sure that everybody fills in that box. Now, this is the big question right here. As far as the offices for like the state president, everything, NCAE has 3-year terms. We said, no, we're going to do, and they said 2 3-year terms. So Tamika and Brian, they have already served their terms twice, so they cannot run again. They have to run for something else, or maybe not run for anything at all. We have gone with 2-year terms, and right now, basically 2 terms. I'm putting with an option for more terms if needed. NCRSP, our goal is we want the positions filled, and we think it's more important to fill the positions than it is to say, oh, you've served 2 terms, you can't run anymore. Because we're going to have whole locals that might not have anybody to fill those positions, or maybe not to fill them totally. And so the NCRSP board voted back in maybe December. They voted to support more than 2 terms, to have it optional, with 95% in favor of that position. So we are challenging the NCAE mandates on that, and we're going to stand firm. There's some other things that they wanted us to do, and we are not going to do that. And so we are actually, I guess I can tell you, we are asking to maybe take this to mediation, and we feel like we shouldn't have to follow everything that they do, that we're like a clone and we're completely in agreement. But as long as it doesn't hurt anything and it helps the association, we think that it's fine. And it is difficult to get seniors to run, for these offices. We've got a lot of people that are really up there in age. Our younger ones are working, they're taking care of grandchildren. Sometimes they're taking care of their parents. So, our people are really stressed. So I want you to realize, and this is what, so we'll go down here because I know you're probably surprised I'm even saying that, but I do have the backing of the board, is basically you're the local president. Most of you on here are a local president, and some are region directors, and you're going to be talking to your people. I think the main thing is let your membership know. I sent an email that the positions are available, these 4 positions, and what the members are supposed to call the president or the elections chair, which we only have. Carol said about 12 election chairs in locals. We hardly have any at all. But anyway, if you're interested in running, you're supposed to contact the president or the election chair, because of the whole idea is probably the person out there in the locals is not going to really know where they can go get that link. I guess they're sending that link everywhere with Malika's emails that come about every other day. But you kind of need to know as president who is interested in running and for what, because maybe you got 2 people for secretary and you say, well, there's somebody else running for that, but we have nobody for vice president. And so, it's trying to fill the positions with maybe the best people that will fit that particular position. And I know in Region 1B, they actually switch around. Like the treasurer became the secretary. The treasurer actually became region director. The secretary became the treasurer, and they just like switched everybody around. And so they're not serving more than 2 terms because they're switching to a different position. They seem to do really well with that. So and what I put down here, the locals have to really get your members to run for these 4 positions. Only you know your members. It's going to be hard for a region director to probably help you with that. Maybe the region director might know some people in your local, hard to tell. But right now, you've got until January 30th. You only got a couple weeks to try to, about 2.5 weeks to get somebody to run, hopefully every one of these positions. Now, I know sometimes out in the mountains, they have locals and you can't get a full slate, but at least try to get somebody for treasurer and president, because those are the 2 most important positions. You need to have somebody to control the money. Another thing you can do is always be looking for people that are kind of, just kind of move up. Like, who do you have as a committee chair that's doing a really good job? And would the committee chair be willing now to take one of the 4 officer positions? Or maybe they would be willing to be a committee chair and do, like, say, secretary. It just depends. But hopefully only asking for 1 position, because we don't want to overwork anybody. But the whole thing is when you're looking for people for your officers at the top, the 4 top positions, you're kind of looking at, well, who else is in kind of the leadership train? And we've got people down here that are committee chairs, and we need to draw upon them and say, wow, this person did a really good job. I think that they could handle this, and convince them to do it. I remember we had somebody in an organization I was in. She was the Valentine's chair, and it was a big fundraiser. And she was just, yeah, I don't know if I can do this or not. And she had to get up in front of the group, and it was a fairly large group, maybe it could be from 50 to 100 people. And she was talking about the fundraiser, and she was scared to death. But, she did that, and she did so well. The next time, I don't even think she became vice president of the organization. I think she became president. And she served, and then she ended up being the congressional district chair for the Democratic Party. So you see how you take somebody that is afraid to speak in front of people, and then you encourage them and keep moving them and supporting them, and you never know what is going to happen. They might be the next president, or whatever. So check those people. Officers can change positions. But I said, if not, ask the current officers to serve. But what we need to be thinking about, okay, like I know there was one where I was in one group and they said, oh, I know it was a particular region director, and we said you can only have like we'll have 3 terms this time, but after this it's only going to be 2-year terms, 2 terms that you can serve. And she said, okay, I'll do it this time, and I'm going to get somebody else and work with them, so I will have a plan in 2 years of who's going to replace me. So that's what you always need to be thinking about doing. Um, when when I was president in Wake County, I needed a good vice president, and I recruited somebody named Tama Bouncer. And Tama became my vice president. She was great. She could work the projectors and do all the equipment, and she was very calm. And I was always hyped up about stuff, and so she would help me calm me down. And so we are still working today in various things. And of course, she's now running for president of NCRSP. You just don't know, but you have that plan for somebody. And, I'm sure Tama knows I've leaned on her quite a bit, making sure that she did run. Um, so then when you do all that, when you get them all established or what they're going to run for, make sure the form is filled out. And so let's go back to the form up here, and this link works right here. And we can go, it did earlier. Oh, it said below. I think click the link below. Oh, I know. It was the other link was the link off of, it was Carol's email. Oh shoot, no, I can't go to that. I've got to find Carol's email that she sent me. It's right here. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share this one. This is Carol's right here. Oh, let's hope this works. Okay, so here she says, click for self-nomination, and it's right here, this little thing right here. Okay, so when you click on that link, and it's the same link that Malika is providing for you, the lady keeps sending all these emails out. So, she's talking about the deadline. And the other night we had people about 8 o'clock at night getting people to sign up by 11:59. So you come down here and you got to fill in the candidate's name, the first name. I'll fill in my name. And then it says your local affiliate. And so and hopefully everybody's county's on here. At one time they were not, but I think they are now. And then you've got to do your race. And y'all can see this, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought somebody would tell me if they didn't. And here it says name as you wish to appear on the ballot. Well, I could, my middle name, say, I really wanted to say Hunter because that's what everybody knows me by. And then we'll have you put in your email address. And so then you get down here and see, you know how to do this because you were putting in those links, for the president, vice president, you put in those positions. So here I am, local RSP. So I'm going to be running for Wake County, and I'm going to be running for the president. For everybody's a 2-year term, you see. And then you put the date, and today is January 13th.
Yes.
2026. Okay, and then the only thing here that was different from before, you could actually click on this and you could type into it, but this doesn't let you do it. It's like you have to try to write your name. So I don't think they're going to be really particular. Or you can practice and you can do it multiple times. But how about that? And so I might end up being official here. And so then you could you can save it. If you save it, then you would, and you want to do something else, whatever, and you're not quite sure, or whatever, you could put save, and then this should stay there. So when you come back to it, it'll still be there. If not, you could do continue. I might have to have Malika to take me out, but I'm going to do this. Okay, here it says preview sign document. I didn't do this. So this is showing me that I've signed up, and this is what it says, and got the position, got my signature and everything. And then it says sign document here. I wonder what that is. You think they're gonna let me type it? We might as well go look. No, this is my submission. So we'll have to take my name out for President Taylor. I'm sure they've got to replace it. You right? Taylor's not saying anything. Okay. Okay, so well, I had to do that. So to give you a real example. So that's all I really need to share. But did that help you to realize that the process that you've got to go through? So you've got to make sure that these people are filling this out, and maybe you might even be online with them when they do that. Do you think that ask me questions, give me feedback? Do you think there's going to be problems? Okay, Jenny,
Linda,
you're muted.
this is Marilyn. Can you hear me?
I,
I've just been playing. I can't make the picture work. I forget that. Where do you find those not self-nomination forms?
okay, it's on the stuff that well, it's on that link that I clicked on Carol's email. It's also
Okay,
it,
okay.
it's also on the emails that you've been getting from Malika. If I go back in my box here, let's see, she's been sending those things out, and they have little stripes on them. Let's see, it's going to show up, I think.
Mine comes from Constant Contact, Marilyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you had to get that. Um,
But
well,
it also if you just do a search in your emails for Malika Butler,
there we go.
it'll
Yeah,
come up.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, because I'm doing Malika right now. Let's see. So see, she has these lines right here. Her, you know, it's like it says reminder. Um, see, it's a reminder NCO election nominations, and so yeah, this is a different email. She was telling me which positions at one point on December 28th, nobody had filed for these positions. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Because
No.
I didn't share it again. Okay, let me go back to Malika again. Because they've been sending out those emails like over and over again.
Right.
You remember those, Marilyn?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at my phone trying to find some. Yeah. Yeah. And I can find them now that I know what I'm supposed to be looking at. Okay.
Because I've asked other information, so some of mine do not have that on there. Let's see. Um, you know, we've asked her questions about various things, and that those things tend to show up. But she was sending them like every day. I'm sure that you realize that you had them, but everyone I'm seeing now that comes from her is about something else. She gets a lot of emails, and we have no idea. She won't tell us like who the actual people are that filed to run for office, and so we have.
That was Lee's question. When will you know who has nominated?
Okay, we will know. They have to verify. They're going to go through the whole list, verify that they are members, and they said that I think they still got the 14th of January. That's the deadline to withdraw and make changes. I'm thinking that they're gonna have all that done by then. They must be looking over all the lists of the people that are running for the state, for the region, or for delegates. But that's not the real problem. The big problem is going to be with these local officers. And so after you get them to file by the 30th of January, then they say that the deadline to opt out in case they change their mind is the 19th of February. So you have to ask for that like in writing. So it won't be until after everybody's like been confirmed and nobody's dropping out. I think that's when they're going to give us the information. And if we had a problem down in 6A and 6B. 6B said, "Well, my secretary filed." I said, "No, she didn't. Um, it's not full." And then 6A said, "Oh, well, my secretary filed. She thought she had no problems. Everything was taken care of." And it ended up that the 6B secretary filed a run in 6A. So 6A thought, "Oh, they got a candidate." And then 6B couldn't figure what happened to their secretary. But she didn't know which region she was in. She put the wrong thing down. So we got that fixed because I figured out that something like that had to be going on. And sure enough, that was what it was. But they're not sharing it until they get everybody verified.
So, so Linda, what I understand you're saying is that there are people that are in our locals that may have filed, but we have no idea who they are or how to find out whether anybody has filed.
That's right. Like say NCAE president and vice president, the only way they know who's running is if, like Christina's running and Riley is running, and then this new person, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He just filed like at the last minute. And so he let us know that he was running too, because at first we thought it was only Christina and Riley, but they don't know for sure, and NCAE won't tell them if anybody else is running, which I've complained twice because it's not right. We need to know who's running and who has filed because then we have a better idea, like say before the election closes, before the filing ends, that maybe we say, "Oh, well, we need to get somebody else to run for this position." But they're not being open about it.
It would make our job as recruiters for these offices a whole lot easier if we knew who was interested in if somebody had already filed, but we don't need to worry about getting a candidate for a certain office.
Now, she will tell you if something is vacant, but she won't tell you who filed. So if you could ask her individually if anybody's filed in your county. But I think the best thing is to email everybody, let them know that for the local elections, I don't think anybody's filed. So I think for the local elections, just go ahead and send an email. We've got these 4 positions open. We need people. If you're interested, contact the president. Are you the president or is it your wife or who's your president in your local? Jean.
Right now, I'm filling that position.
Okay. So, so you just tell them anybody's interested in running that they contact you and then you've got to have to let people know and be talking to people, get an elections chair that can help you to locate some people that might be willing to run. And maybe you can get some other people. But no, they will not tell you who has already filed. So it's going to get to be a mess when you got 95 locals and we have no idea who's filed where. All we know is we can ask, I guess we can ask and she can tell us if there are offices that nobody has filed in. And
Linda, that's my question.
okay.
What's their rule now for us if we end up with nobody who's filed in a particular office?
I think it'll be the same thing as the appointment. The board, within 14 days, will then appoint somebody to fill that position.
So our local board will have the option of naming a temporary officer until the next round of elections, then basically.
I guess so, yeah.
All right. So, but there's nothing in writing on that.
No, I guess we need to maybe get something in writing, but I figured it would be handled the same way that the regional elections were, same thing that happened there.
Well, then the follow-up question is, what really is my elections chair's role?
Well, to work with you and to try to find people to run, calling people like, you're kind of huddling with her or him and you're saying like, who can we get, and trying to say, so and so might be good, let's call them. And then they can't do it, so then you try somebody else. Just calling people, contacting people.
As in the past, our elections people have been really the legal holder of the records and the conductors of the ballot of the elections. So,
Right.
and that's written into many of our bylaws. You qualified through the elections chair, not through some outside group.
That's interesting. Okay, because I never knew that. That again, that we would be asking you to violate your
Constitution and bylaws, that's right.
Your local constitution and bylaws, but you're not going to be doing they're going to be doing the ballot. NCAE is going to be doing it. It's all going to be electronic. They're taking care of all that. So I would think that their role is more in, they're going to know if they paid, if they're a member, and it's just trying to locate some people that would run. I would think they would have done that before.
No.
No. So then how did you get people to run?
By word of mouth.
With word of mouth. And
and we always also file a newsletter that advertises when the offices are up, when the elections is going to be, when the deadlines are to hand in the paperwork to the local elections chair, etc. Now that's the way Buncombe always conducted it, and
these deadlines, the deadlines have been listed. I felt like most people probably saw that before because they kept saying before Christmas, you can start working on this. But now you just got to the 30th.
I understand that. I mean, and I put all that information out to everyone, but the question is still, they've left us hanging as to a number of issues, and who knows, how we're going to end up with these elections.
Yeah, I think other people are also concerned with NCAE and that there needs to be more openness to this whole process, and then we do need to have this information available so we can ask again. I don't see why they couldn't even put something out, because it seems like they could be able to download it from the program and the jot form, and they could just list everybody that was running in each local so everybody would know, and just like that. So maybe they'll do that. Let me see if I ask, and maybe if enough people ask, then maybe they'll say, oh, maybe we need to do something. Because it's important to know, because it's just like, when you're working on a slate, maybe somebody would be better as secretary. Maybe they're thinking about running for vice president. But when you're looking at skills, somebody else could do the vice president, this other person should be the better secretary. And somebody else is better with numbers. You're not going to make maybe them the president. So, you've got to decide who fits in the right place.
Lee has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Lee.
All I would like to know is I don't want to hassle the current officers. I wrote them and I said, I need you to do this. I just hate calling them. I mean, everybody's adults. And it'd be nice to know that so and so is done and I'm done. Or
right.
so and so has not registered, or it didn't go through.
Yeah, there were problems with somebody who
gone through or not. It said it did.
Yeah, there were some people that filed and then it wasn't there, so they had to do it again. But so maybe when you get all four of them filed, maybe at least she could tell us that. Let me write that down and see if she could tell us that if all four.
I mean, at least you could say Macon County has 4 people running for each office, or 1 person running for each of 4 offices.
Right. And so then we know that you're done, unless somebody else wants to jump in and contest.
Oh, I'm waiting for him to jump in, but I'm not holding my breath.
I know. Okay, well, I'll ask them if they can actually, let you know it's all four, and maybe just tell the president.
I mean, I think another issue is these are all younger people. They're very computer savvy, and we are dealing with still. I mean, some of my officers are like, I can't do presidency because I can't do emails. You know, I'm not good enough. I'm not techie enough. So I don't know.
It can be a problem. Um, it's not like that, but you do really need to be able to send an email so you can forward things to your members. And in my view, we need to do more training, really basic training to help people so they would know what to do.
Well, they're essentially saying that anybody that doesn't have an email can't run.
Well, I mean, that's a question, but I would think if somebody does not have an email and they want to run, and so maybe they're going to run for treasurer, they'll probably do that job and not have an email.
Well, it's not an issue in my county. I'm just saying that what they have effectively said is we don't want anybody in an officer position who is not somewhat computer savvy. So, I think if you want some arguments, I'm just throwing some things out. But anyway, I'm shutting up.
But if you have somebody and they do want to be an officer and you feel like they can do the job, then I would just help them to go in there and fill the thing out, whatever you have to do. I'm all for helping people, and that's what we said last time. Some of the region directors were filling the information in, and I know I have one person. She's on the call today, and she said, "Well, I told them 3 times, and they're adults, and they've got to do this." But I think in the end, I think even she had to help them. So it makes it so difficult because even people that are a little, they're tech savvy, they can do things, but it was confusing what they were asking, and we know it was kind of a waste of our time. They could have done it themselves. So, if you have, if there's any kind of problem, if I can help, you know how to get up with me. We'll have another session tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow or 2 days, whatever. We're gonna have another session, and hopefully gonna get the word out there. Region directors, try to help the locals in your region to make sure that they're getting their officers and they're getting the information in, because if it's not in by 11:59 on January 30th, then they're not going to be listed. They won't be on the ballot, and that just creates more problems. So I'm gonna ask about if it's vacant and it's filled by the local, if that will be acceptable. I think it's going to have to be. And she might actually make some exceptions. We do have one local that is just trying to organize, and they need a few more weeks to try to get everything done. And they were going to ask Tamika actually about the situation and see if they would maybe give them extended time so they could get these officers that were agreed to run and get the local going, so they could actually be on the ballot, which won't start until March. And they could easily do that. Or they could actually easily give you an extended deadline. Maybe I should put that down too. What do you think about that? Especially if we're looking at everything on June 30th and we have a lot of vacancies, it seems like it would make sense that we need to extend the deadline. What do you think? That makes sense? Okay, well, we need to go to Tama. Tama's going to tell you a little. Oh, Lee, you got your hand up again, or are you for an extended deadline? I think Lee forgot her hand's still up. So Tama, let's just go to you. We decided to do this as a dynamic duo here, and Tama's just going to talk to you about the convention, and we've got Sonia Edwards on here too, so she can tell you about some of the stuff that her group is doing.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. As you know, the NCRSP convention will be held March 25th and 26th in Concord at the Embassy Suites and it is also the convention center. And for some of the details, we have the hotel registration deadline is coming up February the 20th. And I do have a question for Tara as far as when the local presidents can expect to receive their delegate allotment.
We are working with NCAE right now to see when is the earliest time we're going to be able to get that list. Um, they've been working from a couple of different lists, but I did find out today that Amanda Farm should be the one that's going to get me that list this week. So the earliest I would say would be Monday when they start going out.
Okay. Okay, excellent. So as soon as you receive the list, then you will know the number of delegates that are allocated for your delegation. You probably already have an idea now, having received the roster for your local. And the we have the pretty much the workshops. There will be 3 workshops, and there are 3 time slots at 9 o'clock on Wednesday, 10 o'clock on Wednesday, and 9 o'clock on Thursday. We will be getting out registration information so that we'll have an idea as to the number of people who would be interested in attending either of the workshops. And that'll give us an idea about the numbers to make sure that we have enough space in the room. Yes, June, your hand is raised.
Sorry, it goes back to the earlier delegate numbers, because I wondered if anybody else had noticed a difference in the lists that had been sent to them from Malika had earlier in the week, last week, also sent a list to local presidents of the number of delegates they had for NCAE convention with their total number of members, certified members on it. And at the same time, I think within about 2 or 3 days, Carol sent out the list from her office of who our members were. And I noticed that there was like a 30-member discrepancy in my list. Malika had 30 members less than Carol had listed. And so I asked if she knew how to figure out the discrepancy, and she said she was not sure. And we hadn't really seen the numbers from NCAE, except we all got them as individual presidents when we got our delegate list or our delegate allocation for them.
Okay.
So
Well,
it might be something to look at that list and see if you
okay.
haven't noticed any difference. I'd sure be interested in knowing, and I think Linda would need to follow up on that for us.
I think
Say,
Macon
Okay.
County may have been off. I noticed it and I, went to look for the list from NCRSP and, something happened between A and B but they only listed me with 42 people, but I think I got more than that. I think I've got closer to 50.
Hmm.
Okay, Carol, do you know anything, or Tara?
The list that I send out the first
Um,
of each month is the regional directors list that comes from the NEA, the large report, and I just dissect it into regions and send it out. And I'm not sure where NCAE gets their report. Tara would know.
okay. I probably need to be very, very specific on the type of reports that you're getting out. The delegate report is definitely going to be different than what you would get for a monthly or quarterly report. Delegate report only has those that are eligible to be delegates as of a certain day, that in NEA has for cutoff for payment. Anybody who has been a member for a certain amount of time before the delegates, the cutoff of December the 15th. So it will be slightly different. Just know that. So when I get the delegate report, that will be part of the information packet that goes for registration to all the presidents. It's going to have not just everybody that's in your local unit. it's only going to have those names that are eligible to be delegates. And then you'll get your allocation according to how many, 10% of how many of those eligible delegates there are listed. For NCAE, I do know it's 20%. You get one for every 20% as a delegate. So they should be looking at how many are eligible as of the date in which NEA deems it, because they do a what they call a reconciliation as well as a confirmation with the status of each individual membership for that date for election allocation counts. So I just got the list, the number count list from Malika that she used for the NCAE. My list that I'm getting from Amanda is one that's going to have each individual person's name and information. So it's going to be very, very specific. I did not want to use the same because the only thing I got from the listing that Malika received was a count. I'm getting specific names, and if need be, we can definitely go back into the system to see whether or not they were in good standing by the deadline that NEA counts as eligibility time. And that's what you'll get. But like I said, I do not have it as of yet, but I should be able to get it for this week so that those numbers and those listings come out with that registration packet. Okay. And if anybody has questions after they receive it, they will always have the ability to call us up or email us and say, hey, for specific, because one thing that we do know, in case somebody's payment, say they have a cash pay person, that their check wasn't sent in nor processed until after the deadline, they won't be counted. That's just the way it is. They have a date. NEA will go through and do a scrub as to memberships that are in good standing condition at that time of the deadline and put those names out on the listing. It's a parameter listing. That's all. Okay.
But
But we
are
can
you
definitely
understanding
look up.
what I'm
Say
saying?
it
That there
again.
was like a 30-member difference, and there shouldn't be that large of a difference. And the list that Carol sent was 30 members more, and the difference in the dates that it was pulled from the NEA database is only 30 days. And don't tell me I've had an increase of 30 members
No.
in that
Hmm.
period of time.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
That's why I won't be going over list. The listing that I use will be very, very specific. But I wanted to, you were asking specifically, could there be a difference of what that might be? That's the only thing right now that I can tell you. I can guarantee you your numbers will look different. The amount I really couldn't say because I don't go through each individual to compare what NCAE sends out versus what I get. Okay.
all right.
Thank you. All
Well,
right, continuing on, everyone should have received the flyer for the convention, and that gives you a very good overview regarding registration costs, the cost for the banquet. Remember that lunch will be provided both days for the delegates.
It's not on there.
Now,
That
as
one.
far as snacks or anything like that, that will not be provided by NCRSP. So if the region or the local wants snacks for their delegates, or then that will be up to them to either provide the snacks or not, or provide some kind of stipend or whatever for them to use for snacks. But that will not be part of what NCRSP is doing. For the banquet, we're going to have Hawaiian dancers as part, well, for the entertainment. And we're asking each region to donate 50 or $100 towards the cost of the dancers. And one of the things to remember is that the regions will not have to cover the cost of their region directors this year. So and when sending in that donation, please put on the memo line or reference the Hawaiian with the banquet or well, I guess the banquet would be about right. Banquet donation. Is that right, Sandra? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Silent auction. We have the live auction and the silent auction. The live auction will be for items that are donated by the regions, and so now is a great time in advance of the convention to think in terms of if you want a theme for what that donation is going to be or how those items will be collected. And those live auctions will take place at different points during the day on possibly Wednesday and Thursday. And then any items that will be donated for the silent auction may be brought in the morning of the 25th so that the silent auction committee can get everything all set up. So that can be done. We're asking each local to please donate an item and any members that you have that may have items that they would like to donate as well. Uh, the hotel reservation deadline, I believe I said that is February the 20th. So please make sure that that is observed to be sure that we have the rooms booked and no one is left out or forgets or anything like that. We will have vendors on site, and if you know of anyone who would like to be a vendor, the forms we'll just send them to all of the local presidents and the region directors so that that can be shared. And the locals or regions will also, or even the members, will have the opportunity to purchase an ad for the convention book. The full page ad would be $200, a half page would be $100, and for a quarter page, it would be $50. So please consider that. You may want to have one to that represents your local. It may be a member you may want to spotlight. It may be for the region. So just to keep that in mind as far as the ads are concerned. Are there any questions or is there anything that I have left out? We are in the process of pretty much finalizing the agenda for both days, and the committee will be meeting next Wednesday, the 21st, and to kind of get things more in place and with additional updates.
I think Kara has her hand up.
I don't see you said someone's hand is raised.
Mine.
Oh, okay.
My hand was up.
Oh, let me slide this over. Okay, Tara.
Okay, so what I wanted to circle back when you were talking about the rooms and the reservations. There are, at the present time, there are a number of rooms that I know we had a request. They were looking specifically for queen rooms to be able to book. Okay, so there are a number of rooms right now that are still available. It will determine until we're able to get some change. You have more king rooms available than you have queens. So if you're coming in on the 24th, which is that Tuesday, there are only two right now. Well, there was one available queen room and two available king rooms. If you were coming in on Wednesday, the 25th, there was 21 available queen rooms and 24 available king rooms. We're trying to see if they are willing to exchange some of those kings and turn them into the two queen suites, basically, so you can have two queen beds in the room for folks who are going to share. Right now, they're having to go and work with their sales team to find out how many of those we can be able to convert from king to two queens. Okay. There was a couple of two requests so far that they were looking to come in early on that Tuesday, but there weren't enough queen rooms available. So we're working with the hotel to see if we can get more available queen rooms and not as many king rooms. So up until that happens, there's only a few queens depending on which day you come. You will have to adjust when you go inside of the Hilton app and you go to book your days when you want to come in, you may need to adjust the dates. If it is coming up, there's no say you want to book two queen rooms, and this it says no availability for queen. You may have to book one at a time, one king, one queen, and until we can get some converted, where you can go back, you can call them, and they will be able to make the change over for you, if there's some that become available. So right now, we're still working with them. That was as of Monday, that we've been trying to work with them and see whether or not we can get some more rooms converted for you.
Well, that's an issue
But
we
play
have.
around with your dates.
Well, that's the
Say
problem
it
we had.
again.
That's the problem we had last year too. So, you might need to get as many as you can. I don't know.
We're trying to get as many as we can.
Okay. Okay, Lee's got her hand up.
Yeah, I'm making sure that if I have nobody coming from my region, including me, because it is spring break week for my grandchildren, um, can I give my delegates to another county?
No.
No, ma'am.
Thinking no. And there's no online this year, right?
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay. I might as well sign off.
Well, I'm sure Julia's gonna do her spring vacation or something. She'll probably do a report about the convention. So I'm sure you're gonna find out what happened. Okay, we've got a couple
Thank
more
you,
minutes
Tamara.
in
That was it.
got a couple more minutes. Anybody else have a question? Anything else you were thinking about, Taylor?
Not right offhand. That's that's pretty much the information that will more directly impact the locals and the regions.
Yeah, and Sandra, as the recognitions chair, they came up with the theme, the Hawaiian theme. You want to say something, Sandra?
I do. I just was going to remind everyone to get the nominations in for the awards by February 1st. So, and get them to me, and then we'll take it from there. But that's important. And we've got lots of frivolity planned for the banquet. Everybody needs to know how to do this. So that means hang loose when you're in Hawaii, and everybody has to know how to do that. Plus, you have to have that attitude about you. Even if things go wrong, just hang loose. It'll be fun.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, we appreciate everything that you're doing to get your local ready for the convention and get people to come. And I think the room costs a little bit higher than before. We get people to share a room, cut down on the cost. There's actually sometimes I think you could have those two queen beds, but you also might have a sleeper couch in the outer area that they have. So if you want to put three people in there, you could always ask about those room arrangements to help to save money. So yeah, we look forward to seeing a good crowd there. We're going to have plenty of room. We're not going to be crowded like last year. We've got plenty of space. We're going to have our representative assembly in one room, and then our banquet will be in another room, so we won't have to be flipping tables or anything. And so you're thinking about how you're going to dress with the Hawaiian theme. Maybe you'll have a grass skirt that you'll wear. who knows what it might be, but they're going to have some lays for everybody. So that's hang loose, right? That's it. So thank you so much. If you have any other questions, feel free to call me or to call the office and talk to Tara or Carol. And I'm sure that people call them sometimes on a regular basis because they always have questions. And they're the people with the answers. So thank you so much. We appreciate you and hope you get those positions filled for your local offices. We'll be checking back. And thanks again. And thanks for being a member of NCRSP. And thank you for your leadership and all the time that you take volunteering to make this the premier retirement organization for retired educators. Thank you.
Thank you.